What's going on, everybody? Mr. Octagonal here, and we are back on MLB The Show 20 with our first rebuild of the year. We're going to be rebuilding the Chicago White Sox. I plan on incorporating some unrealistic and realistic rebuilds this year. This rebuild is very unrealistic. We're just going to go for wacky trades to try and win a championship. Rather than building on some of the prospects in this farm system, we're going to go out and try to get star players, maybe not in Season 1, but in the following seasons after that. So if you're not a person who likes unrealisticness, this might not be your video. And if you do want to watch a realistic full franchise, I'm starting a Pirates series. I uploaded the first episode of that yesterday. That will be based off realism. So just be prepared. Let's take a look at this roster. I think this is going to be a really sneaky good team in real life. Here's a look at the pitchers, starting with Lucas Giolito. He was an all-star last year. Definitely a guy we want to build around. Dallas Keuchel, probably going to get traded. Carlos Rodon is cool. There's Reynaldo Lopez, a guy who was a really highly regarded prospect a couple years ago. He's been really disappointing. And then Michael Kopech. He will finally get a real shot in the majors coming off of Tommy John surgery last year. He will likely be the number 5 starter in the rotation. Looking at the bullpen, Aaron Bummer isn't bad, but outside of that, the bullpen is kind of cheeks. Not a lot of great prospects there. And then looking at the closer, it's Alex Colome, who's a good player, 31 years old, 80 overall, one of the better relievers in baseball, but I don't see us building around him with that age. At catcher, Yasmani Grandal, the White Sox signed him to a big contract this offseason. I don't know if I'm going to keep him the whole time just because that's a lot of money. But he's also a really, really good player. Actually, he's never hit over 250 other than his rookie year. Huh. Well, I still do plan on keeping him, but I didn't realize his averages were that low. James Mccann is actually a pretty good player. He'll be a really good backup. At first base, Jose Abreu. He's been the face of the White Sox these past few years. He's a phenomenal player, but at 33, I know White Sox fans aren't going to like this, but I think it makes sense to trade him. And then Edwin Encarnacion, great player, but he's 37. He's not going to get much better. At second base, Nick Madrigal. He'll probably come up next year. He's a really talented player. At third base, Yoan Moncada. He had a sneaky good season last year and is developing into a really nice player. Has a ton of upside, and he's going to be great. At shortstop, Tim Anderson. He hit .335 last year. When I saw that, I was surprised. I did not realize he was that good last year. I figured he would hit like .280. But .335, that's a really good average. So he's definitely a guy I would like to build around long term. Behind him, Danny Mendick isn't too bad. In left field, there's Eloy Jimenez. He's a stud. I mean, we were talking about Fernando Tatis, Mike Soroka, Pete Alonso, Yordan Alvarez as all the top rookies last year, and deservedly so. But Eloy had a sneaky good season, and I have a feeling he's going to put up big numbers in real life this upcoming season. At center field, Luis Robear. He has not played yet in the major leagues, but that will change as he is fully ready. Luis Garcia, good utility guy. Adam Engel, not too special. And then at right field, Nomar Mazara. He was acquired this offseason in a trade with the Texas Rangers. He's a guy who I would like to build around long term. So I'm probably going to hold on to him. And as you can tell, this is a really fun team. And I think they're going to win some ball games in real life this year. I wouldn't be surprised if this team surprises some people and sneaks in as a wild card. So our first trade, my first trade in MLB The Show 20, is Zach Collins, Luis Basabe, and Nicky Delmonico. 3 talented minor leaguers, but none of them are too crazy. Going to the Tigers for Casey Mize, phenomenal pitching prospect. He's going to be a beast in real life. Going to send Jose Abreu and Danny Mendick to the Twins for Max Kepler, who's already a great player now. I think he'll be a really good player to build around long term. Yesen I don't know how to say that name. Adam Engel and Jimmy Cordero will get us Dinelson Lamet from the Padres, talented starting pitcher. He will be a nice addition to the rotation. And the next move we got here is Dylan Cease, Leori Garcia, and Daniel Pelka. Going to get us Wander Franco. In my opinion, the best prospect in all of baseball from the Tampa Bay Rays. I think he's going to be a superstar within a matter of a year or two. He just needs to develop a little more, but he has so much upside. Dallas Keuchel to Washington for Eric Thames and Kurt Suzuki. Sort of a weird trade, but I'm not tanking year one. I wanted to get some bench bats to actually help the team win games. I'm not going for a high draft pick. I'm going for production and for the team to play well. So that's not a long-term deal. but I think it'll be good for the short term. Edwin Encarnacion's going to get us Andres Munoz, a talented relief pitcher prospect from the Padres, along with Will Myers. He's just a throw-in. I only really care about Munoz in this deal. Myers can be a decent player for his year one, I suppose, but he's nothing crazy anymore. He was really good a few years ago, but has sort of fallen off. So here's a look at the lineup. We got a bunch of guys who I'm really excited to build around. I mean, really that top 7 are all guys who I'm cool with keeping long-term, and I think they can be the core and the foundation of what can be a really, really good lineup. And then the pitching rotation as well. Giolito, Lamet, Rodon, Lopez, Kopech. I'm cool with keeping all of those guys. We are going to move Kopech into the rotation. I would rather just get him some starts early on, even if he struggles, unless he's really bad. And we're going to move Gio Gonzalez to the long reliever spot because he's old. I don't really care about him too much. Sorry, Gio. He was cool like a bunch of years ago with the Nationals and Brewers, but he's kind of old. He's still decent now, but he's an old man. So here we are at the draft, 31-30. Same record as the Royals. That's kind of strange. Looking at the numbers, Kopech isn't doing too hot. Gio is, so we may want to make that switch. But other than that, the rotation is not doing awful by any means. And I don't know why I didn't check the lineup. I guess I really only showed Kopech because he was the one I was curious about. Oh, well. So here's a look now at the draft. We're just going to go through all the picks here at the end. There's only one blue-chip player left. That was Rene Latinga, a closer. I understand picking a reliever at 11 isn't sexy, but I was just going for the best player available. He has a potential. Rod Seddon in the second round, not crazy. Really, no one here is that great other than the closer. We did kind of get a steal in Felipe Bermudez, only 76 potential, but he's also already a 75 overall. So now here we are at, I guess, the All-Star break, and we have fallen off. 49-60 all of a sudden. Looking at the numbers, not bad. A lot of these guys are playing pretty well. James Mccann isn't. I don't know how he's gotten that many at-bats. I guess Grandal got hurt. For whatever reason, Yohan Moncada's on the bench. I shouldn't have put... I put way too much stuff on auto. I'm not putting lineups on auto anymore. I've learned a lesson. Do not put the lineups on auto, kids. Even if you're doing a sim rebuild, don't do it. They're going to mess it up bad. Like putting Yohan Moncada on the bench. The pitchers aren't doing too bad. We are going to make one trade here. Colome was a free agent, so I figured it'd make sense to trade him. We're also going to send a few other players to the Mets in exchange for Edwin Diaz, who has actually had a really good season in this. He has a potential, and he's pretty young. So I figured that'd be a good pickup as we finish 74-88. That's worse than I expect for real-life White Sox to finish. So considering this team that's better than the current White Sox finished at 74-88, I would say that's disappointing, but I guess we will get a pretty high pick. Looking at the numbers, Robear was solid, so was Moncada. Tim Anderson was pretty good. Eloy hit 40 dingers. Kepler was decent. Mazzara was okay. So really no one was bad, or at least out of the guys we're building around, but nobody was really good either, which I guess is why we kind of finished this way. And then Yasmani Grandal, who is currently hurt, he had a decent season as well. The backup catcher, Kurt Suzuki, is also hurt. Lucas Giolito, he had a good start to the year, sort of fell off. Dinelson Lamet was pretty good. Rodon was solid. Lopez was bad, and so was Kopech. And then Gio even fell off towards the end of the year. The bullpen wasn't terrible. Aaron Bummer was good. Cishek was good. Edwin Diaz was good. And then the Astros beat the Dodgers in the World Series. Imagine if this happens in real life. MLB fans all around are just going to have a far cry. And I mean, the Dodgers, man, losing another one? That's got to hurt. Here's a look at the playoff bracket if you are curious. No real surprises, I think, outside of Milwaukee winning the division. I don't think the Brewers are going to be that good this year. And we ended up getting one award. Luis Robear does win AL Rookie of the Year, so that's fun. Here's the World Series MVP. I've never heard of this dude, Garrett Stubbs, who hit 500, but didn't hit a single home run, and he didn't even drive in a run. So for all we know, he could have gone 1 for 2. And he wins MVP this game. Looking at the exclusive free agent negotiations, I don't really care about any of these guys. They can go. And then for rebranding, we're not going to touch that, even though we're going to do relocation things in MLB 20, just not quite yet. I haven't really thought of what I'm going to do quite yet. So the free agency class is decent. It is headlined by Mookie Betts. There's some other good players in here. DJ LeMahieu, Jonathan VR, who was rated way too high. VR has the same rating as Christian Yelich. That's unbelievable. I think Yelich is the second best player in baseball, and you're comparing him to Jonathan VR? So for arbitration and stuff like that, we offered pretty much everybody who's good, who he wanted back. Unfortunately, Dinelson Lamet left, and I didn't even notice. He actually signed back with the Padres, which is kind of ironic, but oh well. It was nice having him for this season, I guess. And then in free agency, we're going to go after Mookie Betts, DJ LeMahieu, and Marcus Semien. The latter two would be trade bait if we get them. And then Mookie Betts, I don't see why we would trade. So we do sign DJ LeMahieu, so that's good. Unfortunately, Mookie Betts does not sign with us. And the irony here is he's going back to Boston. That's a power play by Mookie Betts, getting traded to the Dodgers. So the Red Sox get Alex Verdugo and all those prospects, and then Mookie goes back to Boston. That's a chess move by Mookie Betts and the Red Sox. We do sign Marcus Semien, though, so that's cool. So we are going to make a few moves now, a few prospects. One with Will Myers will get us Giovanni Gallegos, a talented relief pitcher from the St. Louis Cardinals. And we're not done yet. The big moves are going to start piling in, boys. Marcus Semien, AJ Reed, and Nomar Mazara will get us Shane Bieber from the Indians, getting ourselves a legit ace for a rotation. Lucas Giolito's good, but I don't think he's ace-worthy yet. So now into the Rule 5 draft. Time to take advantage of what we've been given. Bunch of 8 potential prospects here. We're not going to take them all, but I do want to get a few who can potentially be trade bait, starting with Cody House. I don't know how to say that name. I've never heard of him. And then in the second round, we would do the same by picking the second baseman, Carlos Sepulveda from the Dodgers. And then in round 3, we'd pick outfield prospect Victor Mesa. So just taking advantage of our opportunity to get trade bait. I could have really theoretically picked all these guys, but I don't want to get too crazy, okay? That would be a little bit wacko. So, actually, would I pick one more? I would. I'd pick Dylan Cozens. So, I did cheese a little bit more by picking Cozens, but he's the last one for this year, I promise. So, I don't know why I'm showing this part. I didn't pick anyone else. So, we're going to get ourselves another ace-caliber starter, Reynaldo Lopez, and 2 of the Rule 5 prospects are going to get us Mike Soroka from the Atlanta Braves. So him, Giolito, and Bieber as a threesome with Kopech and Casey Mize, that's scary. So for DJ LeMahieu and 2 of the other Rule 5 guys, look at these offers. We could get Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Walker Buehler, Shohei Ohtani, Jose Barrios. There are so many good players in here. I don't know who to choose, but I ended up going with Yordan Alvarez from the Astros. He's just the type of guy to just dominate in MLB The Show Sim. I looked at his numbers from Season 1, and I don't regret it. And then we don't need Carlos Rodon anymore, so we're going to get Franmil Reyes from the Indians. He's another guy who really plays well in MLB The Show Sim. I noticed it last year, and let's hope that we can get the same results this year. So this lineup is absolutely terrifying. This is an elite 1 to 9 lineup. It's elite. Nick Madrigal kind of holds them down, but even him as at 74 is not bad at all. And there are some superstars in that lineup, and then the pitching rotation's even better. Bieber, Soroka, Giolito, Mize, Kopech. We have 2 long relievers and only 5 other relievers in the bullpen. One of the long relievers is a 49 overall. We're just going to go with it. We can make it work. This is a good enough team. And at the draft, we're 42-20. Playing really good ball. Looking at the numbers, outside of Madrigal, pretty much everyone's doing well. Moncada has been incredible, it looks like. Eloy's average is kind of low. Franmil Reyes, 331, 20 homers. That's a really good season. And he missed the first, 3 weeks because I put the lineup on auto like an idiot. And he didn't even get a single at-bat. Kepler is also playing like an MVP. So this team right now is just dominating. And then the rotate, actually, I guess we'll look at Alvarez and Robear first. Both of them are playing really well. Yordan Alvarez is putting up MVP-like numbers. Both of them are hurt, though, which kind of sucks. And then the rotation. Bieber's doing well. Soroka, look at that. 11-0. 1.69 ERA. Nice. 69 strikeouts. Nice. What a season from him. And then Giolito, 8-0, 2.3 ERA. Mize isn't doing too well. Kopech has been atrocious. But those top 3, man, and the bullpen's doing really well. Bummer is not allowed to run. So on to the draft. We found a gem in the first round. Jorge Cordova, 64 overall, 97 potential. And then the only other pick I made was the second pick, Eddie Ferreira. And the CPU actually didn't do too bad. They drafted a few other talented players in the late rounds. At the All-Star break now, the team is just continuing to dominate. Look at these numbers. Oh my goodness, this team has been just insane. Some of the guys like Reyes and Kepler are slowing down a little bit, but they're still playing really good baseball. Mike Soroka, 15-0, 103 strikeouts, sub-180 ERA. That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. This team is geared up to win a World Series this season. Problem is, we're in a very competitive division. The Indians and Twins are doing really well. Robear and Alvarez have not come back yet, and Kepler is hurt, so that's unfortunate that we have three of our main pieces out for a little bit. And as good as we're playing, the Twins are half a game back. So we still have to be playing at an elite level. Now at the deadline, we're 3 games behind Minnesota, so we're going to make a quick move. A few prospects going to the Cubs for a relief pitcher, Rowan Wick. Maybe he's related to John. Not too special, but I figured we needed another arm to round out the bullpen. And we end up finishing 98-64. Usually that's good enough to win the division, but not with the Twins, who I think finished with 108 wins. So we weren't even close. Going to be playing the Indians in the wild card game, who finished with 96 wins. So definitely quite the division we're in. Looking at the final numbers, Yordan Alvarez, for whatever reason, is not playing, which is very bad. He's probably our best bat, which says a lot. But other than that, the rest of the team's doing well. 43 home runs for Eloy. I did not expect his number to be that high. But, I mean, he's just been cranking them out the yard. Cranking them. Alvarez finished with a good season, and he only had like 315 at-bats, I think. Soroka sort of slowed down. He was still very good. Giolito's in the bullpen for whatever reason. And then Kopech was moved down to the minors because, like an idiot, I had roster moves on auto, which is just basically call-ups and call-downs. I should not have had that on auto. No. That was a bad choice by me. And then Tim Anderson is hurt, so that's fun. He actually had a pretty good season. So the injury bug certainly affected this team, but it is what it is. Kopech finished with a 6.93 ERA, not great. And then Franmil Reyes is in the minors for whatever reason. He only played 100 games, but dominated. 33 dingers, 297 average, an OPS over 1,000. I mean, he played really well. And we lose in a wild card game. Shane Bieber loses to his former team. Nice. And then the Twins end up winning the World Series. So clearly they were a team to mess with. The Dodgers lose their 4th World Series in a matter of 5 seasons. Ouch. So this free agency class is stacked. Yelich, Lindor, Baez, Bryant, Syndergaard, Kershaw, Story, Rosario, Scherzer. I mean, there are some monsters in this class. And budget-wise, we're in a good spot. Grandal's the only player making over 10 mil. So maybe moving him could be a good idea. We're not going to do it for now, but I think we could at least consider it. Arbitration, tender contracts. We gave everybody who needed one a deal. Pretty much anyone who's good or anyone who's not super old in the minor league system. In free agency, we're going for the top 4 guys, Yelich, Lindor, Baez, and Syndergaard. We only have enough money for one, and that's going to be the cover boy, Javier Baez, staying in Chicago, but joining the White Sox. And with some remaining money, we're going to go after Kenley Jansen, try to improve the bullpen even more. And I wanted to get some more money, so we're going to trade a few expensive players for a pair of prospects from the Padres. I wanted to go after Lance McCullers. We still did not have enough, though. So Michael Kopech will remain a starter in our rotation, because if we got McCullers, Kopech would become the lone reliever. So back to the Rule 5 draft. We're going to draft 3 more players. Gerard Encarnacion is the first one. And then the second one would be another outfielder, Tristan Lutz. And then for the second straight season, we would pick up Victor Mesa once again. And after that, I decided not to cheese anymore. But we did get 3 really good players who are going to be awesome trade bait. And if we hold on to them for now, we can just keep them in the minor league system, I guess. Going to be trading Dane Dunning. Not because he's bad, but because the roster moves were on auto, and they kept sending Kopech and Reyes down. So I had to trade someone away who was out of minor league options. Kopech is now going to get called up. He does not belong in AAA. He is a starter. I don't care how bad he's played. So looking at the rotation, there are stats. We're like 6 games into the year. But same rotation, but bullpen is awfully similar. We did add a few players, including Kenley Jansen, also called up Andres Munoz. And then the lineup, pretty much the same as last year, the only difference being Javier Baez starting instead of Nick Madrigal. Madrigal will come off the bench as a good bench bat. Baez taking his spot in the starting lineup. And then we got a few good other bench bats for Rule 5 guys along with Andrew Vaughn. So looking at the draft, I think I made the first pick, Jeffrey Hayward, who's pretty good. And then after that, I just simulated, and the CPU didn't draft anyone good. But whatever, it is what it is. So next up, we would get to the All-Star break. 69, nice, and 28. The team is playing really well. Anderson has been incredible. Moncada's been great. Yordan Alvarez has played like an MVP. Madrigal, I don't know why he's starting, but he's been solid. Franmil Reyes should be starting, even though he is kind of struggling. I still want him to be the starter. Max Kepler has been awesome. 69 RBIs, nice. Javier Baez is doing really well. So is Grandal and Robear and Eloy. They're all playing well. Looking at the rotation, Soroka has been great again. Shane Bieber has been solid. Giolito is not. Mize has. And then Kopech is actually pitching really well, so that's good. Then looking at the bullpen, Bummer's been great again. Bummer's been really good in this video. Diaz is great. Jansen is great. Gallegos, incredible. So the back end of the bullpen is doing well. And then at the trade deadline, 77 and 35. We wouldn't make any moves because I didn't think we needed to, but it turns out we kind of did because we did not win the division. Wild card again. The Indians win the division. Looking at the numbers, very nice season from Robear. Moncada was good. Yordan Alvarez was phenomenal. He probably won MVP. Eloy was good. Kepler was great. Javi Baez was very solid. Grandal was really good. Andrew Vaughn, I don't know why he's hitting as a starter, but he didn't do too bad. Madrigal, meh. Tim Anderson was excellent. He's currently hurt, but he played really well. And he is healthy enough to play. Reyes was pretty meh, but it's not the end of the world. And then looking at the rotation, Soroka sort of dipped down a little bit, but he was still good. Giolito struggled. Mize sort of struggled. I don't know why Bummer's listed as a starter. I guess because Bieber's hurt. I don't know why they wouldn't just go with a 4-man rotation. And then Kopech finished the year off strong. The bullpen played well. And then Shane Bieber actually had a really good second half of the season. He is currently hurt, though, so that's fun. So on to the wild card game against the Red Sox, and we win. Soroka leads us to victory. Gonna now be playing the Indians in the divisional round. It looks like we needed a 163rd game to determine the winner of the division. But it looks like that division winner didn't do too hot as the Indians get swept, now taking on the A's. Series tied at 2. They have Aaron Bummer starting. I don't know why. I'm not starting Aaron Bummer. It's not happening. So, must win Game 5 here. Casey Mize on the mound, and we end up losing. Or no, Soroka was on the mound. Mize pitches Game 6, which we win. And then Kopech chokes, and we lose Game 7. He pitches really bad. So, another season and another failure. So, the A's do end up beating the Nationals in the World Series, so at least we can say we lost to the champs. Tim Anderson's a free agent. We absolutely want him back. He has been great in this episode, coming off a phenomenal season. Kenley Jansen accepts his team option, which is probably for the better. And then looking at free agency, I probably could have tried to trade Grandal and really splurged into one of these guys and let Tim Anderson go, but I wanted to stay a little bit homegrown. And something messed up with the arbitration. Mike Soroka is now the Pirates. He signed a very cheap contract, by the way. But luckily, we have plenty of prospects, mainly thanks to the Rule 5 draft. So Mike Soroka is back on the team. This will probably be the last season, so I don't really care about those prospects. So Soroka is back on the Rule 5 draft. We wouldn't do too much, but we would do a little bit. Harvey Sanchez, a potential catcher. We need a backup catcher anyway, so he'll be fine as a backup in the majors. Going to be trading Tristan Lutz, who was a Rule 5 pick last year, and another outfielder for a pair of bullpen arms from the Bucks. Tampa Bay Rays, Ron Sport. Going to get Diego Castillo and Jalen Beeks. The thing with Beeks is, with this game being dumb, they'll probably send him to the minors instead of Kopech, which is fine. That's why I threw him in. I needed another major leaguer who had a few minor league options left. Looking at the lineup heading into Season 4, pretty much exactly the same. So that's good. Consistency, I guess. And then the rotation, exactly the same. The bullpen, pretty much the same other than the addition of Diego Castillo. And sure enough, Jalen Beeks is in the minors. So the game decided to do that. It's fine. Yeah, no, put a 65 overall Paulino in instead of him. Oh, well. So I got an offer mid-season involving Jalen Beeks. We would trade him to the Angels for Danny Santana, who's been putting up numbers. Ever since the start of this rebuild, it looks like he's been great. So I think having him come off the bench could be really good because he's been phenomenal. Currently winning the division. Twins making it close, though. Looking at the numbers, Anderson's been great. Alvarez, great. Moncada, solid. Eloy, meh. Kepler, pretty good. Baez, meh. Robear has been playing well. Andrew Vaughn, I don't know why he's starting, but he's been awesome. I'm going to just put him on the bench for now, but I'm tempted, if things don't work out with a guy like Franmil Reyes, I'm more than okay with putting Vaughn in because he has been maybe the team's best hitter. Other than Yordan Alvarez. Yordan Alvarez is insane. And then looking at the pitching, Bieber's been great. Soroka sort of took a step down. Giolito, good. Mize, meh. Kopech, meh. And then the bullpen, not bad, but not great either. The back end, though, our big three of Gallegos, Diaz, and Bummer have all been great again. So we're going to make a move here at the deadline. 2 okay prospects for Zach Kelly. We need a long reliever pretty bad. So the Angels are going to take that. He will now be the long reliever. We end up winning 108 games. We finally win the division. Thank goodness. Took a while. So we'll play either the Twins or the Red Sox, and sure enough, it will be the Twins. So maybe this can be our opportunity to get revenge on them from them playing well in the past. I can't look at the stats because we're in the playoffs now. I'm dumb. But oh well, we'll just enter the playoffs now. So we sweep the Twins, going to be playing the Rangers in the ALCS, and we're up 3-1. Can Bieber close it out in Game 5? He sure does. So we're going to be playing the Dodgers now in the World Series. Can the Dodgers finally get over the hump, or will they lose another one? So let's take a look at this team. It is terrifying. They don't have Mookie Betts, but look at that rotation. Buehler, Urias, Taillon, Kershaw, Dustin May. This team is stacked. They still got guys like Cody Bellinger and that stacked lineup. So this could go bad. Game 1, we lose 1-0. We win Game 2, 6-3. Good game from Soroka. Big Game 3, and we lose at home. Game 4, we lose. Casey Mize has an ERA in the double digits. And then we lose Game 5. So the Dodgers, after losing 4 World Series in a matter of 5 seasons, of course, have to beat us. Moncada does win playoff MVP. He dominated. Jeez, those are some numbers. So we're going to end the rebuild here now. I can't really do too much more to make this team much better. I assume we're probably going to lose a bunch of free agents, and the team's probably going to be worse next year, knowing this game. Because, I mean, that's how baseball works. I mean, when you have all this talent, you're going to have to pay them all. And we can't pay everybody. Javier Baez was in AAA during the playoffs. Nice. MLB The Show's dumb like that. Have a good one. Make sure to vote for the next team we rebuild in the comments, in the straw poll. Have a good one.